Welcome back, race fans, to PSI TV. It's been since last year since we've done one of these broadcasts, but we gotta welcome y'all back to the Dirt Racing Challenge Series tonight from Volusia Speedway here in Florida. And we got one heck of a show on hand tonight. We've got the 360 sprints around this small little Volusia Speedway, and I got Brennan on hand, but he's not mic'd up just yet. But we're gonna throw up a couple of commercials just like normal. We'll be right back in just a couple of moments.
Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are gonna love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Well, Brennan, we're having a couple of issues with getting the screen size correct, but real quick, if you could offer up basically what you're seeing out here on the track, that'd be great as I try and straighten this out.
Alrighty, well, like most of the races we've seen so far, they're through the middle of the track. It's getting slicked off really quickly. Obviously, most of the places that's your preferred line, so these guys are pretty much left with the very bottom and the very top right now, and we're not even into qualifying yet. So this should be a fairly interesting race, I'd say, come race time, because I'm sure there won't be very much track that has not slicked off. Obviously, you might be seeing a lot of cars getting wrecked and spinning around, flipping, and all that jazz. It's a practice session, obviously, and these cars aren't not the easiest to handle, I'll admit. There's a lot of cars on the track, too.
Okay, sorry about that. I was just totally perplexed by the issue I was having. The screen just wasn't even proportional. But anyways, in these last few seconds of practice, we'll throw up your results right quick. Chris Branner is going to take this practice session home, followed by Robert Kerstetter, Travis Oldfield, Derek Fisher, Ted Liette, Wade Lamar, Troy Chabata, Austin Nye, Trevor Royer, and Chad Miller. That will be your top 10 out of practice, and Brennan, I'll give you 11th through 20th.
Alrighty, we have Richard Lewis, David Diller. Oh, just switched on me. I think we lost it. I did.
Yeah, it did just get rid of our practice results, but Anyways, we've got 5 laps of practice for these guys, apparently. No, 4 laps, sorry. I need to do math, because basically it's what you see on the top left of the screen minus 1. So that's why you see 5 laps. They actually have 4 laps, I believe, of qualifying. Correct. Jeez, excuse me. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Brennan. But we're going to go back and just kind of give you, I guess, a view of what things looked like during practice for these guys. I'll actually get a little further back here. And, Brennan, you're the resident dirt racer at PSI TV in general, so, you may not be watching the exact same thing as us, but just kind of tell us exactly what we can expect from these guys tonight. We've watched 2 of their 6 races already throughout their 6-race inaugural season over here in the Race Agent Dirt Racing Challenge Series, but I think these next few races will probably be the most crucial as far as getting a feel for how this series will go, so if you can offer up some dirt racing experience, that'd be great.
Yeah, what like we mentioned a little bit earlier with the track is what you're seeing is the middle of the shiny part of the track. If you're not really too familiar with it, that's all basically where the dirt's heated up and there's rubber sticking to the dirt now, so that's what they call the slick. And you don't want to be in there, especially in one of these sprint cars, because it'll push the car up towards the high side of the track. And you'll basically do what's called washout, and you'll lose like almost all your speed. So that's a real issue. So basically, it leaves you with 2 lines. The very bottom of the track or the very high side, which we've seen in the past 2 races. There's been just very, very, very small lines what's left in come race time. They had a lot of tracks out here to really work it in real quick. So here, Volusia, it's a lot like Lanier, which we have coming up. The inside can work for a while, and then when it goes out, you're gonna go way out to the high side of the track in these, and that's basically where you'll sit. We saw a lot of that at Williams Grove and as well at Eldora. A lot of high side action at Eldora, obviously, of course, the famous track for running the high side up there. But yeah, obviously these are crazy, crazy powerful cars and they have a lot of speed, so they're interesting to handle sometimes. And what's looking like we'll have a pretty fine area left for the groove, so there should be a lot of real tight, close racing, I'd say, because it's really hard to pull away and stuff like that unless you have a really well set car or prepped car.
Yeah, and to
Yeah,
my
it should be.
knowledge, these guys are working with their own setups that they built, so they should have cars that are pretty much suited to their ability, their comfort level. And I just want to explain some of the weird things you might be seeing on your screen here. We're watching a replay from practice for this event. I believe we'll have 45 laps once we actually get going. But we're watching some replays from practice of these guys trying to get some laps in, trying to figure out their setups for both qualifying and the race. And you only have a session before qualifying and not between qualifying and the race. So basically, you've got to nail down a qualifying setup and a race setup in whatever is allotted for practice. Tonight it was only 20 minutes for these guys here at Volusia, so it's not the most time in the world to be able to get something nailed down for the race, but I believe these guys will probably have it pretty well worked out. A lot of these guys are, bigger name iRacing dirt drivers. And, of course, the underdogs mixed in, but basically some of the weird things you'll see on your screen now is the cars blinking in and out. I believe some of that is caused by just the general lag we see race in, race out. And some of it is also, I believe, because of the max cars rendered through my personal PC, and I didn't have a chance to change that. I didn't expect so many drivers here. So I didn't get a chance to change that before we got going tonight. But that's probably what's causing most of the blinking issues there. We actually have Glenn Lieb out in the chat asking about that. Yeah, I just want to make sure you guys know that's not normal, but once we get to race time, that shouldn't happen at all. We should be all sorted out.
Yeah, I don't know if they've been running this before or not, but they're going to take the top 26 tonight to the feature, so that should definitely help out with the visual side of things for you.
Yeah, it should definitely get back to normal. I think I just need to change that for future races, so it's up to, I believe they let 60 guys in here tonight, so excluding us would be 58, excluding Brody as well, who I don't think will be racing at all. Would make it 57 eligible drivers getting in, but we're now rolling over to qualifying. So, Brennan, I'll let you take the top 10 here.
Alrighty, sitting on our pole tonight, we have Chris Brenner. To his outside is going to be Robert Kerstetter. Taking up row 2 is going to be Nick Gray on the inside, with Wade Lamar on the outside. Row 3 is going to be Trevor Royer to the inside, with Richard Lewis to his outside. Row 4 is going to be Travis Oldfield to the inside, with Ryan Pace to the outside. And row 5 is going to be Parker Davis on the inside, with David Flick on the outside.
And in the 11th spot in row number 6 will be Chad Miller out of Texas, followed by Perry Duvall out of the West to his outside. And then 13th will be James Cowman, not sure on his number, with Brett Strickler to his outside. In the 15th spot will be Justin Verhey. Don't honestly know, but he's out of the Midwest in the number 53 tonight. To his outside will be Dale Glessner out of Pennsylvania in the 36, followed by Connor Hall and David Diller in row number 9. And in row number 10 will be Derek Fisher and Bud Davis.
Alrighty, and picking up row 11 is going to be Matt Stombaugh on the inside, followed by David Carlson to the outside. Row 12 is going to be Brock Garris with Chase Howard to his outside. And finishing it out in row 13 is going to be Troy Tabata on the inside with Tim Gamble on his outside.
And we'll slowly scroll through the rest of the drivers here. Ted Liette actually may not be able to race tonight, and he was last race's winner from Williams Grove, so that's a big deal there when it comes to points. Unfortunately, it looks like Ted Liette will not be allowed to race as long as it is only 26 to get to start, and I believe that is the rule, Brennan, so thanks for bringing that up. Moving on, we got Terry Renner, Brendan Franks, Austin Nye, Andy Patton, Jed Barton, Brady Rarick, Andrew Johnson, James Roseberry, Timothy Desworte, not sure, David Farnan, Travis Cornwell, Justin Thurman, Steven Sittler, Nelson Webster, and some more who I believe will not be in tonight's event. So, unfortunately, it looks like they won't make it, but we do have a race on hand, and Chris Brenner once again starting off from pole position. I believe this is not the first time he's done this. I think this is the second week in a row now that Chris Brenner has taken pole position in a DRCS race sponsored by a race agent. So congrats to him on tonight's pole award. He's got Robert Kerstetter to his outside, though, and that's not going to be an easy guy to fend off here, Brennan. We've been watching these last few races, and Robert Kerstetter, Chris Brenner have to be the favorites to win once you take Ted Liette out.
Yeah. Chris Brenner, obviously, his choice when you go, so he'll have the advantage there, but I think tonight your high side's going to be where the speed's at. If there's anything on the low side, it won't last more than probably 10 laps or so. So we could see Kerstetter maybe pull away with the lead here, even though Chris Brenner's going to get the jump on him, more than likely.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Kerstetter to get a very good jump here on the start, considering, as you mentioned, Brenner has that option to start when he wants. So we'll be watching here out of turn 4, though this time we're coming to the green flag, and Brennan, it's your call.
Alrighty, we're rounding through here, going into turn 4. The pace cars are starting to pull away, and we're underway. Good jump for Kerstetter there. Or Brenner, excuse me. And
Yeah,
we're
but
going
it's key, actually, for Kerstetter to stay on Brenner's left rear, as you saw through turns 1 and 2, just like he did. That was a great thing to do for his race. I mean, it's only lap 2, but it's key to do that kind of thing on the start. He was able to keep with Chris Brenner so far, and it looks like he'll actually be trying to work the top side through turns 1 and 2 that time, but he's still right there with Brenner. So even with that advantage from starting first, I think he's not any kind of in the clear. I think Kerstetter is still right there and has a great chance of still taking that lead. Plus, we still have 43 laps to go, so anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like everybody's still feeling out. Bottom side may have some speed, like I said, still here, but that's going to wash out here pretty quick, and he'll be stuck up on the high side. So.
Yeah, I think these guys are taking what they can from the bottom right now. You see Travis Royer, the winner from Eldora, trying to use that bottom side right now. I think they're going to pretty much mop up whatever's left down there and start working the top side. But you see Kerstetter and guys further on back trying to work that top side in and get their cars used to the top side with a caution in the back. Do we have a possible number there, Brennan?
Still looking to check here. Two cars on the roof there. Let me go back and see who they are. The 44 is definitely involved, it looks like. Oh, yeah, Chase Howard.
And would the other have been Tim Gamble?
I believe it may have been. There's another white car for me.
So we watching here the race agent car, the gray and orange car right in the center of your screen is the 44 that Brennan was talking about. So we watching as he goes through these few corners, and you can see his car trying to step out, trying to get out from under him. That may have been what ends up causing this wreck. We'll wait just a moment. Actually, I think he might have got hit. We'll have to wait and see. We're still a little bit ahead of where the actual wreck was. There was a car
Looks
slow.
like,
That's the 36.
yeah, the 38 looked like they're,
Yeah,
the
definitely.
big issue there.
So, Brenna, thanks for calling that out. We had actually just gotten there when you mentioned it, so we'll watch back on the 38 there. That was Derek Fisher. Looks like he just gets too high in turns 3 and 4, ends up clipping the wall with the right rear, and you know the right rear is massive on these cars. It's
Yeah,
easy to
definitely.
it's easy to get the right rear into the wall, as you know, Brennan. So it looks like he just the car didn't want to bite when he went off into turns 3 and 4, and it just washed up to the wall. Ended up hitting one of the inlets or outlets to the outside pits, and it just totally jacked that 38 car up, and we ended up seeing him spinning out in front of a few cars there that ended up collecting the 44 and the 343, and so that'll be their night done pretty much.
Yeah.
I would expect.
Yep.
But we'll
Yeah,
go
they've
back
already
up to the
disconnected.
front. Have they? Well, that's unfortunate. But
Yep.
up to the front, Chris Brenner still has the lead, and I think these guys are restarting this time, Brennan.
Alrighty. We're just sticking up high, and we had a good jump again for Chris Brenner. And we're underway here. Still looks like he's trying the inside still. Looks like it's working out for him. I'd call it almost a quarter of a straightaway lead already for him. Kerstetter going to take it down there to the bottom now. See what he can feel out down there. And Brenner.
Chris- Actually, sorry about cutting you off. I was going to say
Yellow,
Chris
yep.
Brenner did exactly what he had to do there, getting back out to that lead, but a caution out in the back once more. I think that's going to be David Carlson in the number 24, as well as a couple other cars, but definitely the 24 car. So you're watching David Carlson, the number 24 right here, and I think we're going to see him get into the wall here in turns 3 and 4. Indeed, he's going to get up on the wall, actually, pretty much very reminiscent of what the 38 did, Derek Fisher, on that last caution. But was that the actual... That had to be the wreck, actually. Yeah, it was David Carlson there. That had to be what brought out the yellow. So we'll watch that one more time from his on board. And Brennan, if you can diagnose this from your perspective, go ahead.
Well, let's get back to it here, and we'll go to the cockpit. Just watching from the chase view here, he looks pretty good coming out of 2, and we're going into it. He starts in the slick, and then like I mentioned, it washes you up when you're in the slick. Basically, what it does is the tires aren't biting, so it pushes further and further up the track. And I think he just pushed up, and then they finally gripped again and sent him up into the wall there.
Yeah, and he ended up getting so sideways that he got the right rear into the fence, just like the 38 on the last wreck, and that ultimately ended up ending his chances of saving that car. That's why he ended up in the fence and wrecked. Well, we just got the 1 to green signal from the pace truck and the flagman. So Chris Brenner will have the call again on this restart over Robert Kerstetter, and it looks like Nick Gray, Trevor Royer currently in 4th, Wade Lamar in 5th, Richard Lewis in 6th, Ryan Pace in 7th, Travis Oilfield in 8th, Perry Duvall in 9th, and Chad Miller in 10th. And, this is going to be one of those things where Brenner has to control this restart once again.
Yeah, definitely. He's smart decision up high as we get ready to go here. He's underway. He's going to dive immediately down to the bottom. I think into turn 1, yep, back like he was. Lasting a little bit longer than I thought it would. We're at almost going on up to lap 15 here, and there's still some momentum down there.
I think these guys are still really using up that bottom side any way they can, trying to get grip. That is the shortest way around the track, and that's got to be the preferred way, especially when this track is tacky. But as we've been mentioning, Brennan, once you start to slick it off, there's no grip.
Yeah. And then it'll be a big difference compared to what they're running because they'll have to go way up, all the way up to the top almost. Looks like 1 and 2, they may be a little bit further down the track still, but they're 3 and 4 are going to be almost all the way out to the fence there. So it's going to be a big difference in your driving line. Your braking points, all that are going to change. We're under yellow again.
That we are. So I'll look through the field here. It looks like it's going to be Dale Glessner in the 36 possibly involved. So we'll
Yeah.
go back and see what happens with the 36 car. Go back a couple of laps here and try and find out exactly what happens. So center of your screen, the 36, Dale Glessner. I believe the cause of this third caution of the night. We see him get a bit out of shape out of turn 4. Ends up sliding up into another car, the 116, the 116. In turn 1, but that wasn't the cause of the wreck. I think it's going to happen in turn 3. Yeah, he ends up slamming into another car, and that one was Justin Virhe. So the 53 ends up getting loose out of 2, is stopped on the track, and that's when the 36 of Dale Glessner comes in full speed. Just had nowhere to go, really. We'll try and watch this actually from the 36's on board real quick. Let's see if we can't get a good shot. This'll do. So this is from the front edge of the top wing on this car. You'll see that yellow car spin out ahead of him, and yeah, there's nowhere to go. He starts trying to get on the brakes, and Brennan, as you can well document, the brakes on these cars may as well not even be there.
Yeah. Yeah, the brake is not meant for actually stopping the car. It's for setting the car into the corners. It's not really used for stopping necessarily, like you mentioned. That and being on a dirt surface where the car just wants to slide. It's they're not easy to stop these if you need to.
Yeah, they're not exactly meant for stopping purposes. I think the best use you'll get out of them is maybe just trying to get the car to pitch into a tight corner like at Williams Grove. But anyways, we're getting ready to go green once more. We'll have 25 laps to go this time on this restart. Chris Brenner still your leader, but Robert Kerstetter has not left the gearbox of Chris Brenner just yet. He's still ready to try and get up there and challenge that 84. Green flag is in the air, and off into turn 1 they'll go.
Brenner with a huge leap there. He had a good start on that. Kerstetter actually going to get challenged here by both Nick Gray and Trevor Royer, looks like. Actually starting to pull away now. We see Kerstetter moving up to the high side now.
Yeah, Kerstetter, I think, is eager to work that top side, where a lot of these guys are pretty partial to the bottom side so far. Although you see Trevor Royer now working the top side, trying to get up next to the cushion and use that to his advantage. He'll get the run out of turn 4, but it's not enough to clear the 39. Nick Gray still commanding the bottom side just in front of the 4. The 4 being Richard Lewis. I think he's one of the newer guys to this league, but he's definitely trying to get up there and mix it up. And now the 39 washing to the top side, 3 wide on turn 4 nearly. And Brennan, just, as a dirt racer yourself, what's going through your mind if you're one of these guys in this huge gaggle for third?
It's difficult. It's fun to race around guys like this, but at the same time, you're all fighting for the same spots pretty much. Especially in these sprint cars, there's usually one or two good lines to the track, so everybody's gonna be fighting for that. In the real cars, they don't have mirrors. You just base it off the engine sound to tell how close they are to you. So sometimes I think it is better just to turn your mirrors off and not race with it and just drive the focus on driving the car.
Yeah, sometimes that mirror can be distracting on a simulator like iRacing, but I think it's also a pretty nice tool to know when a guy is getting a run on you, and, I think the spotter goes the same way. You don't really have to tune into the spotter entirely like you would in a normal race, but it definitely helps at the very least. You can tell sometimes when you're unsure and unable to look, you can kind of get an idea of where other cars are around you, so my personal opinion would be it's a tool that should be used, but I totally understand that perspective. And right now, the 42 getting into the mix. We haven't seen him all night. That's Ryan Pace.
Oh, we're going to go under yellow here.
I believe that could possibly be the 25. No, I think it'll be further back. Possibly the 94.
Looks like the 318 of James Cowman was involved for sure. Didn't catch the other car.
We'll try and get a replay here of the 318. And
That'd be the 17 of Travis Oldfield in the 318 making contact there.
yeah, actually, I think the 055 got to the inside of the 318 and shot him into the 17. We'll watch that again, but yeah, I think the 055 you'll see will end up forcing his way to that bottom side, trying to get underneath the 318 and make the pass. You'll see contact there to the left side of the 318. That sends him into the 17 of Oldfield, and ultimately the 318 goes for a ride, and that should be his night over and done with, as you'll see him escape to the pits. Travis Oldfield should continue on with little to no damage. Actually, he's in the pits right now, probably getting some of that damage repaired. I wouldn't imagine it would be much, but it's certainly worth it to at least come into the pits, get anything that may be damaged repaired. And we'll have, it looks like, about 14 laps to go on this restart, Brennan. If you're Kerstetter, what are you going to do on this restart?
I think he's really just got to keep it up high. I think right now through looking through 1 and 2, he was quicker than Brenner, but then through 3 and 4, that's when he was trying to push it back down there, and then that's where Brenner was starting to make the gap. So I think, I don't know, I'd try it, send it out there for a couple laps on the high side, and see where you can go with it. If not, you got to find something to catch up to him. 'Cause, he's had a great car all night, Chris Brenner.
I definitely agree. Pace truck to the pits. Chris Brenner getting it fired up on the top side, and he's now going to dive down to the bottom in turns 1 and 2. You saw him a little bit loose, actually, on entry there as the field goes by, and these guys are going to fan out, try and use those lines that they were just trying to work in on that previous run, and Kerstetter actually trying to get up to that 84. He's not going to do it just yet. Do you think clean air versus dirty air matters in these cars, considering they are the lower powered, or I guess the mid-tier car when it comes to the sprint cars? They aren't the 410s where it's mostly based on power, but a huge move from Ryan Pace. But Brennan, in your opinion, do you think the air matters at all?
Not really. The wings are there for the downforce they plant in the middle of the car. Obviously, the bigger the 2 wings. I don't think it really plays too much of a huge role in the dirty air, at least from what I've experienced. I'm not too familiar with the actual real cars, but with my iRacing experience, I haven't really noticed too much with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something to possibly think about, at least with the 305s. I think the 305s may bring the air into it just a little bit. I think in a straight line, it could definitely help to get the draft from somebody. I could just be talking completely crazy talk. I don't really know. That's why I race on pavement. However, actually, these guys are wrecking up here in turns 3 and 4. That was the 055 and the 11. Looks like that's going to be Perry Duval, and the 055 would be Max Stambaugh. Right? Yeah, Stambaugh. Sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
As we're watching Ryan Pace right here, we saw a big move from him a few laps ago, but it looks like he's calmed down. He's trying to work around that 055 right now, actually, with Trevor Royer up on the top side. These guys are... actually a wreck right where we were watching. It's going to be the 11 Perry Duval. And they're just wrecking it up behind him. I mean, there's nowhere to go at a place like this, so we'll let this calm down a little bit, then get another replay on that. And I wanted to watch this battle back here because I figured this is where the highest concentration of cars would probably be, and this is probably where the wreck would happen first. And I think I was right there. Harry Duvall, the Tony Stewart Racing car right there, ends up getting tagged by the 90 of Trevor Royer. That's going to collect the 90 and the 114, and then someone else was coming through there at almost full speed. Who was that? Looks like that may have been Bud Davis in the 116. We'll watch him right here. As these guys are wrecking up ahead, there's really nowhere for him to go, and I think he may have been blinking a little bit, possibly having a connection issue. Maybe didn't see those guys when he came up on them, but the rest of the field doing a pretty good job of getting slowed down in time. But overall, that's going to be Perry Duvall. I think he'll continue on without too much damage, but definitely going to hinder his chances of getting up there for a real good finish here.
Yeah. I don't know if he showed it going into turn 3 there, though. He, like I mentioned earlier, he started to wash up. The car's pushing up to the high side, and then eventually the wheels started really getting spinning there, and that's where he lost all his speed, and that's what caused that incident there. Just so much slower than the cars right behind him.
Yeah, it was almost like he unintentionally kind of made a slide job on exit of the corner where he ended up sliding up in front of the 90 and just didn't have the momentum to contend with the 90, and there wasn't much Trevor Royer could do at that point other than stay in the gas and hope it works out right. So he ended up getting into the rear of the 11 of Duvall there, and that's what spun him around and ultimately what caused the big wreck right there. But with just 4 laps to go this time by, Chris Brenner has the lead still. He's led all 40 laps so far, with Robert Kerstetter on his bumper, though, a lack thereof, I should say. These guys are getting ready to go green here, Brennan.
And we're going to go underway. Brenner with a great jump like usual for him. Kerstetter not too far behind. We see, again, Brenner through the middle there, a little bit loose on entry. And he's pushing up there as well through 2. This is where Kerstetter is going to have the best chance of getting some time. You're going to stick it way down there. He's loose off of exit, too. Everybody's having issues on that. I think this is where
I think as this track slicks off, you start to get some of the bumps forming in the dirt here in Florida. It's just harder and harder to hang on, but we're watching this battle for about 3rd and 4th, the 4 and the 21, just to kind of get a better perspective of exactly what's going on throughout the field, and I think these guys are just hanging on for dear life. You don't see too many battles, really, as we might think of them conventionally, but towards the front, again, Kerstetter just cannot catch the 84 of Brenner.
Yeah, right now he's having issues on the bottom side. He's pushing up to the middle. He can't keep it planted down there, so he's losing a lot of speed there.
And the white flag is out for Chris Brenner. He'll come around turns 3 and 4 for the final time, Brennan. And looks like Chris Brenner easily going to take the victory here tonight. Chris Brenner, your winner from Volusia. We'll watch the rest of the field go by. The fireworks will shoot off. We'll go through the results in just a moment. But that was 45 laps in a nutshell, rather quick. I think that was only about 20 minutes.
Yeah. They go by quick in these for sure.
Maybe we can convince Brody to do double headers in the future.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we could see some series racing with maybe the wingless, or bring some late models or street stock, something like that out.
For sure. So, Chris Brenner is your winner from Volusia here tonight. Got to thank everyone for tuning in. We'll see if we can organize a couple of interviews with some of the drivers here tonight. So, let's see, who was the top 5, Kerstetter, Pace, and Brenner? We'll see if we can contact them through Discord. We do have Kerstetter in the house. We'll move him down there. Do we have a Ryan Pace at all? And we do have Chris Brenner. So we don't have Ryan Pace, but we do have Kerstetter and Brenner that we can contact. Who was 4th?
4th goes to Nick Gray.
We do have a 4th place Nick Gray, so we'll get him in here first. And Brennan, I'll give you the interview with Nick.
Alrighty. Nick, this is Brennan up here in the PSI TV booth. You have a copy with us?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Alrighty, but he's finished off 4th tonight. How did you feel about that?
Pretty happy first time being out here with these guys. It's a good bunch of guys. I mean, on that one slide job I tried putting on Wade, I messed that up and it gave me some front end damage on that. But other than that, felt pretty good out there.
Yeah, I was questioning how'd the car feel. Obviously, we saw some people having issues running the bottom side there towards the end. Looks like everything was getting loose off of exit there.
Yeah, corner entry was pretty good, and then when you kind of get off of it, the rear end would just kick out really badly. And I had speed going in, coming out, I had nothing really. I mean, at the beginning of the race, I was pretty fast, but then it just went away.
Yeah, well, definitely for your first time out here, I'd say 4th place is definitely a great finish to get. Quick question: who puts this on for you tonight?
Honestly, I just like to thank my dad, because he's the only reason why I'm on here. He's the one that got the computer for me. Pretty soon, I'm hoping we can get into a real car, actually. I'm hoping actually Tyler Grundyke hopefully next year in the pits at Knoxville Raceway. So that should be interesting too.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Well, we'll say thank you for that, and great finish for you tonight with 4th place.
Thank you.
And that was Nick Gray in the number... Oh, I just lost his number. 39, I believe, right? Yeah, Nick Gray in the 39. Yep. So thanks to him for some time. And next we'll bring up Robert Kerstetter from 2nd place, rather. Robert Kerstetter, this is Andrew Cardinale in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, Robert, we've been seeing you pretty much dominate as, I guess, the second place, third place guy. Unfortunately, you haven't had the break you need just yet to get out front and win one of these things. At least I don't believe. You may have won You didn't win Eldora. I'm sorry. However, I believe you started on the pole. So either way, you've been up in the front, top 3 every time we've come out. So, just how have you been keeping your car up front?
A lot of practice, man. And my teammates, we run almost every night. So these guys are all the guys I run with. My teammates are all fast, and it just makes me faster. So it's a team effort to get up here and run with these guys every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost the usual now, even only after 3 races with the Dirt Racing Challenge Series. It's almost the usual to see the 27 and the 84 up front. Unfortunately, we didn't get Ted Liette out there tonight. Otherwise, we would have seen, I believe, a 313 as his number. So, I think you've pretty much solidified yourself as one of the favorites. Unfortunately, just haven't had that chance. Do you think it can come next week? I believe we're going to Linear.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty good there. There's some good guys there too. Nelson, he's super good there. Brenner, of course, he's going to be up front there. So, yeah, I mean, it just depends on how the track is. I mean, I don't being that slick. We've been practicing a lot on the slick track, so we'll see.
Well, Robert, you've done one heck of a job so far. Hopefully, we get to see you win one of these things before the season ends. We only have a few races left. I think we just eclipsed halfway. So, just thanks for, obviously supporting this league put on by Brody Wilhelm. Thanks for your time here tonight. Congrats on the second place, and hopefully we get to see you win one of these things before too late.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for putting this on, and thanks for Brody for putting this on. So, thanks. And also want to thank my teammates at TSR for helping me get to where I'm at right now.
Sounds great. Well, I'll let you have a night there in Volusia. Great job on the second place.
Thank you.
And Brendan, I'll let you bring Chris Brenner up here when you're ready.
Alrighty. Find him in here. Oh, there we are. Chris Brenner, this is Brennan with the PSI TV booth. You got a copy with us?
10-4, I'm here.
Alrighty, buddy. Well, we saw you put on a really great show out there tonight. You led every lap of this race. How'd the car feel for you?
Well, the car felt great. The track, not so much. That sucker was worn in before we took the first lap, so it was challenging all the way to the end.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of cars out there for that practice session, and it really slicked it off real quick for you.
It sure did. But I really don't know what line was fastest. I just kind of chose the bottom and stuck with it. Towards the end there, I was running through 3 and 4, just going right through the middle of the slick, kind of like a middle line, just coasting, and wait until you're on the straightaway to get back in the gas.
Yeah, definitely. There's not really much left. Good dirt there to really go fast with. So definitely interesting race up there. Well, still though, you put on a great performance tonight. Like I said, led every lap. What makes it happen for you?
Well, my teammates at UW Motorsports, we do a lot of collaboration on car setup, and we've come up with some great things. And we're always fast no matter where we go because of it. So I can't thank my teammates enough.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we'll move you back down, let you celebrate. Again, congratulations on the win tonight.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for recording this thing. Can't wait to watch it. And thanks, Brody and Race Agent and all the guys that put this together.
And again, that was Chris Brenner, tonight's winner from Volusia, and I think he's going to solidify himself as the favorite to possibly take home the championship once the season is over. Trevor Royer rather, Ted Liette, and now Chris Brenner are your 3 series winners so far, and Chris Brenner, I think, has been the most common denominator in the front of each race. I think, granted, you've seen the same names up front week in, week out. I think he's been probably the highest of those guys when it comes to position throughout the entire race, not just the finish. So Chris Brenner is going to be the guy to watch out as we go into the final 3 races of the season here with the Race Agent Dirt Racing Challenge Series. Brennan, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. He, like we saw tonight, it was a demanding or great performance that he put on there. And like we said, we've seen him up top 5 through the whole series so far. I definitely agree with you on that. He's going to be definitely one to look out for when it comes to that last race.
Well, before we close out the night, we'll take a look at the Race Agent race summary. Chris Brenner ends up leading all 45 laps. There's not a single lead change as that number 84 gets just a commanding win tonight. There was no way anyone was going to challenge him. I think on any of those restarts, it was going to be his show from the beginning, pretty much. Once we saw him get out to that huge lead from the start, I think it was game over for the rest, for guys like Ryan Pace and Robert Kerstetter. But great job, nonetheless, for everyone involved up there. Ryan Pace getting 3rd place and Kerstetter in 2nd, Brenner obviously in 1st. We had 5 cautions tonight, 3 laps each. That'll be 15 laps in total. And now we'll start off with the results. Brennan, I'll give you the top 10.
Alrighty, obviously, like we said, Chris Brenner took the win with Robert Kerstetter in 2nd, Ryan Pace 3rd, Nick Gray 4th, and Richard Lewis going to round out the top 5 there. In 6th, we had Max Stombaugh, followed by David Flick and Perry Duval, Brett Strickler, and then rounding out 10th is Connor Hall.
And in the 11th spot will be Troy Tabata, sorry. Anyway, David Diller in 12th spot in the number 09, with Bud Davis following him up in 13th. Chase Howard in the 14th position. Brock Garrison 15th with Lamar in 16th. Trevor Royer, we saw him unfortunately fall victim to a late race wreck there with the number 11. And he's going to end up finishing in the 17th spot with Travis Oldfield right behind in the 18th position. Both of those guys, I believe, 8 laps down, as well as James Kalman. Parker Davis will finish 20th.
Alrighty, in 21st, Chad Miller, he finished 28 laps down. 22nd going to Justin Verhey. He finished 30 laps down, unfortunately. We saw him in that earlier wreck. That pretty much ended his night right there. Dale Glessner, 30 laps down as well. He was also involved in that one. Then we had David Carlson, 37 laps down in 24th. And Tim Gamble, that really beginning wreck there, unfortunately, he got involved in that one, finished 25th. And Derek Fisher rounding out the field in 26th with 42 laps down.
And among the guys who didn't make the show but did come out and at least put forth a valiant effort will be Braden Jones, Ted Liette, Terry Rennert, Brandon Franks. We've also got Austin Nye, Andy Patton, Jed Barton, Brady Rarig, Andrew Johnson, James Roseberry, Timothy DeSuerte, Tim Farnan, Travis Cornwell, Justin Thurman, and Steven Sittler, Nelson Webster, Josh Phillips, Corey Zatniski, and Jared Bell. So in summation, that was 45 laps here tonight from the Volusia Speedway in Volusia, Florida. Got to thank everyone for tuning in. Also got to thank our sponsors, Monkey Motorsports, TN Designs, Pit Stop Insider, the NMNTS Racing Series, All-Star Sim Racing Series, iRacing Weekend Warriors Racing Series, obviously the Dirt Racing Challenge Series, Race Agent, and many more. Scott Brothers and Images. I just can't even think right now. I'm sorry. All from Roll Fleet Repair. There's so many to go through each time. You think I'd get it down by now. But anyways, got to thank everyone who puts forth such valiant efforts into making our broadcasts what they are. Got to thank you, Brennan, as well for stepping in and helping me out a lot recently, and hopefully a lot in the future. And this has been Pit Stop Insider TV with the Race Agent Dirt Racing Challenge Series, race number 3 from Volusia Speedway. Have a good night.